When you're in a room full of females, you have to adjust your tone if you want to win them over.
I don't think you can win over women because they'll always want more. So I just think appeasing women is just like a losing battle.
You've been on the internet for how long now?
Maybe like 2 to 3 years, something like that. If you count, it depends if you count TikTok or not.
Yeah, I don't think we count TikTok.
Oh yeah, it's fair enough.
What would you say is the biggest lesson you've learned about people from all the interviews you've done?
Oh gosh. People cap a lot. That's the biggest lesson. Maybe people cap a lot and that it doesn't matter what you say to chicks, like how you say it. If it's information they don't want getting out, they'll still get mad. So a lot of times, like a lot of people come at me for saying like, why are you so harsh? Or why do you say it that way? But what I have found is maybe and I used to actually think that, like I would watch Fresh and Fit and I would watch like Kevin Samuels and be like, why can't you be nicer about it? Doesn't matter.
Yeah. I do find that I really do see both perspectives there. And it's not even a fence-sitting position. But when I watch Andrew Wilson, for example, I love the guy.
Oh, he's great.
And everyone gives me so much shit about it. But I'm like, no, we need this because the culture war can be very brutal sometimes. And it's a very dirty game. And sometimes, like, did you watch the Fresh and Fit live event that just happened?
I saw the clip of that guy like freaking out on Andrew.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I appreciate having Christians with a bit of balls who can give it back in those types of situations, particularly. Because as a Christian myself, sometimes I find that one of the things that deters people from wanting to get on board with the faith, especially young red-blooded men, is the fact that we come across soft sometimes. So I like that sort of thing. However, I do understand that you do have to win over a room. And especially when you're in a room full of females, you have to adjust your tone if you want to win them over.
I don't think you can win over women. No, because they'll always want more. Women were never happy. So I just think appeasing women is just like a losing battle. Have you ever heard of, like, I've heard women that were married to like multimillionaires, housewives, complain and say they were abused.
Yeah. Did you see this story with Kaká recently?
Who?
Kaká, the Brazilian footballer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. My man won a Ballon d'Or, which is like the world's best player in 2007. And then his wife left him because he was too perfect.
That's what I'm saying. Like, good luck. You want to win over women? Good luck. Win over the high, like win over the men that women respect, then you'll get women.
I do tend to find that though. That's actually a good point because if you win over the guys that women respect, then I do think that they do tend to follow. And I don't know, like, tell me what you think about this. But I'm seeing a trend recently where we're seeing a lot more Bible verses in the bios as opposed to links in the bios. And I know you probably think it's cap. And by the way, anyone who's listening doesn't know what cap means. It's what the kids say for like lying, you know, because we're trendy like that. But I'm seeing a lot more of that. And I tend to think that podcasts like Whatever, for example, they're putting the girls who come on there who are like virgins and who are ethical girls on a pedestal. And then they're just giving shit to the girls who are sex workers. And I tend to think that it's one of those things, again, where the culture war is very dirty like that. But I know that a lot of young women watch those podcasts. And I tend to think that when they watch those podcasts and they see the guys who they might be interested in, like slandering the sex workers and then putting the Christian girls on a pedestal, maybe it influences culture a little bit. Maybe we can win the women over.
Yeah. I hope so, but I'm just not in the business of selling dreams and I don't see any data, you know, because people can put whatever they want in their bio. They can say whatever they want, but you have to look at like what we're doing. And if you survey women that are Gen Z, it's like family is on their 7th list of priorities. They rate like travel higher than a man. So, yeah, I mean, you know, it's like, what do we say versus what's actually happening?
Yeah.
You know, STD rates are higher amongst that generation. Like they're younger and younger and younger. So
it is a big problem. What do you think is the main contributing factor to this?
Social media, I would say. Well, there's so many. Like, I mean, birth control was invented in the 60s. So that gave women 100% reproductive power. So now you have women that, you know, if a girl gets pregnant, we're 100% in control of who is born. I mean, that's an insane amount of power. Then you have social media and dating apps. It's like men swipe right 50% of the time, women swipe right 5% of the time. So now we have an insane amount of power when it comes to dating. And women, when we get power, we're just kind of evil with it.
I feel like
not even queens are more likely to wage war than kings.
yeah. I feel like you'd get along. Have you ever spoken to Jesse Lee Peterson?
Yeah.
I feel like you guys would get along really well.
Yeah. I think he's even more like, I guess, out there than me, I would say.
He's a national treasure. Yeah, I've spoken to Jesse a few times, and his theory is kind of like goodness comes from above.
Oh, yeah.
And then, so if God is giving goodness from above, the man is above the woman in the household. So God gives good to the man, and then evil comes from below. So evil comes through the woman. And then in order to understand goodness, the woman has to get that through the man. Would you say you're pretty much on the same page as Jesse there?
Well, yeah, because I just started realizing, like, when men are given power, they like build these amazing societies, right? You know, if they wanted, all the men could get together and they could make us sex slaves. They could say, you know what, we're going to throw all these women in cages. But no, they don't do that. They said, all right, ladies, you want some rights? Here you go. You want to work? Here you go. You wanna be a mother? Here you go. Oh, you don't want to be a mother? We'll make you birth control. Oh, you don't want to do any housework? We'll make you Roombas. What have women contributed to society?
Well, have you read Rachel's book, Occult Feminism?
Yeah,
it's a good book. And it kind of does, the facts kind of do show that as societies get more and more developed, women get more and more rights, right? So, and like back in the days of chivalry, in the days of the knights in shining armor, the whole part of chivalry was, you know, being virtuous towards women and making life very easy for women. But the narrative these days is that women were oppressed and women were chained to an oven. I
don't even think chivalry was a good thing. Because
you don't think so?
Men used to kneel. It's women saying we're more special and awesome than we are, and we want freedoms, rights, and privileges we don't deserve. Men used to kneel to kings. That's where proposing came from. And then the women said, no, kneel to me, and the men said, okay.
Do you think that it's a man's job to protect a woman?
Yeah. Yes. But I don't think it's a man's job to protect every woman. So like you'll see these like women getting robbed nowadays, and like the men sort of like they're not stepping in anymore. Like I don't think that's their job. But if he's like his wife, sure.
Why do you not think that's their job?
Because why are you entitled to protection when all women have done is shit on men the last 100 years? And men have invented, I mean, I guess you can't do it here, but men have invented guns. So equal rights, equal lefts, baby. You know,
well,
it's like
I mean, men are still more proficient with guns though.
Yeah, no, they're better at everything.
Not everything.
I think they're better at everything.
I've got one for you.
Okay, go ahead.
Long distance swimming.
I doubt it.
No, if you look, the record holders are women.
Women
are more buoyant.
I'd have to see it. I doubt it.
I want you to Google the world record for long distance swimming right now.
Long distance swimming.
Women hold more body fat, so they're more buoyant. So the world record holders for long distance swimming are all women.
I'll take your word.
Do you want me to give you another one?
Yeah, go ahead.
They're more flexible.
Okay, I'd probably believe that. I would believe that one. But I'm just thinking.
Can I give you a few more?
Yeah, go ahead.
Better at crashing cars.
Yeah, that's true.
So, anyways, what were you saying?
I don't remember.
Yeah, so Vinny's going to Google it now, but I actually Googled that one before. I was like, I'm gonna find something that women are better at, so I can like finish.
But it's always like the most niche thing that doesn't matter.
Long distance swimming matters.
Does it?
It matters to someone.
Okay.
Long distance swimming record is held by a woman, but the longest distance ever swam, endurance-wise, was held by a man.
Always. Sorry.
Damn it.
No, because it's always, I'll tell you what, things that women are better at are things that don't matter because men are more practical. But if the men really put their time and effort into like figuring the things out that don't matter, you know, like, because another thing I think someone quoted that women are better at is like recalling like past basically. But then I started looking at like historians and the top ones are still men.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's just a fact. Back to the chivalry thing though. If it is so, and you know, obviously men are physically superior to women and superior to women in many ways. In the Bible, Eve was created to be Adam's helper. And I think that that's the natural order of the universe. And I think that a very intelligent woman will find a man who is competent and who has a lot of potential and will do her best to help him out to get to the highest level that he can be. because the smartest girls that I know have all done that. And now they live pretty good lives because they have these competent husbands. If men are, in fact, better at everything, isn't it our job to protect women? If they're our helpers, don't we protect our helpers?
Yeah, but if they're not helping you, why would you?
But what about in terms of like your relationship? If it is your wife, if your wife is the one who's helping you,
if it's your wife,
yeah.
But that's what I said. I don't think we're entitled to protection from strangers, and most women aren't going to get married. It's like so most women are not entitled to protection.
As a man, it's my natural inclination though to want to protect a woman. Like if I was to see a woman getting assaulted in the street tomorrow, it would be my natural inclination because I just think that that's the way that society should be. So it's kind of a little bit blackpilling when I think about it, when we say, oh, well, you know, women aren't doing shit.
Well,
so maybe.
And let's look at how that's going to work out. I mean, there was a woman that was on the train and a stranger came to protect her. And what did she do in court? She threw him under the bus and said, oh, I wished he didn't protect me like that.
When was this?
This was in New York on the East. I can't remember the exact date. It was like in the last couple of months. But so, and a lot of men get killed doing that because a lot of women are in those positions, like they're being assaulted. It's like a boyfriend.
Right.
And what happens a lot of times is the men step in, you know, that we call them like no offense, but like the white knights, they step in and try to help the girl, but she's in that position because of the man she chose.
Do you think men are the leaders of society?
Yeah.
Do you think we rightfully should be the leaders?
Yes.
And if we're the leaders, do you think that we should be leading the way in terms of the ideals that we try and put forth and the ideals that we try and embody? And do you think that women should be following that lead rather than women having to change their own mindset and then men having to be like, all right, you guys have changed now. Okay, now we'll protect you.
Could you rephrase the question?
So if men are the leaders, shouldn't we be leading culture as well? Shouldn't we be leading these ideals and leading by example so that women will then follow?
Yeah, I mean, we should, but it's tough what the men are up against now. I mean, women make 80% of consumer buying decisions. So, I mean, the whole media is catered towards women. Women have more political power now. We're 55% of the population. We're the majority of swing voters. So, you know, I just think men have very little power nowadays.
They do.
So, you know, I mean, it's like one thing, like, should men do that? Okay. Yeah, but can every man do that?
I get what you're saying. And
I'm sorry.
And that's all right. In terms of moving forward, though, here's what I think. We have to find solutions here as a society because we're in big trouble at the moment. I mean, our birth rates are in decline. Men are lonelier than ever. The disparity between rich and poor is getting worse than ever. I mean, women are, like you said, not getting married more than ever. More STDs, more abortions. We're in big trouble. When you think about solutions, I know you're doing a documentary at the moment about the family court, right?
Yeah.
What solutions are you thinking?
Oh, I you know, I get a lot of flack for this because everyone thinks I should come up with solutions. I don't see any. I see it getting worse. Yeah. You know, I think you should prepare for the worst. I don't see it getting better. I don't see any data that indicates it's getting better. I think there'll be more sex workers, and we're already starting to see it on Twitter. It's like we're going on you see these former porn star pastors, all this shit. Like you're starting to see sex workers in positions of like political positions. Like in the US, there's a former cam worker that's like running for Congress. I think that'll be more normal. I think there'll be more female politicians, more female judges. I think men will have less political power and less. Yeah. So good luck. Enjoy the decline. But I do think that the only path forward is to give women the responsibility they asked for. And then they'll start to give up the freedoms that go with it. Because right now what we have is we have all the freedom, but none of the responsibility. So we vote the same as men, right? But we're not supposed to enlist in selective service. But if we were forced to enlist in that, just like the men, I mean, shit, I would be the first person campaigning to not, I don't want to join the military. Like if shit goes south, you know, I don't want to join the military. I don't want to do all that stuff. Even child support, alimony, it's just another way to bail out women. We have 100% freedom to have sex with who we want, to get pregnant by who we want, but we don't have the responsibility to take care of that kid for 18 years.
Yeah. And a lot of the people lobbying for those things are feminists as well. I do think that if there was a good war, then this stuff would turn around again because it's just because we're so rich and privileged and lucky. Like when I was speaking to a girl on the whatever podcast the other day.
Oh, you went on whatever?
Yeah, I've been on there 7 times now.
Wait, you went on there 7 times?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I love it. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love all those things. These women, I spoke to this feminist the other day on the podcast, and she was saying to me, I could do anything a man can do. And I said, okay, well, why aren't you a concreter then? And she was saying, oh, I'd love to be a concreter. I would, but, I'm a little bit busy right now. And I said to her, like, you wouldn't last 2 minutes in the shoes of a concreter. No. I've done these things. And the only reason why you think that is because you're a young girl who lives in the modern world in the 21st century. Yeah. And not only do you have an easy life, you have the easiest life of anybody who's ever existed ever. So, I mean, if you don't understand the world around you, if you don't have a fundamental understanding of the privileges that you have and of how easy it is, then it's very difficult to appreciate the value of men.
Well, how would we ever understand it? When you think about it, like the school system, the school system caters to women, right? Like there was studies during COVID where women's grades dropped when the cameras turned off.
What do you mean?
Like their grades, like women got lower test scores because when the cameras turned off during COVID, because women are just given preferential treatment, even in grading, even in the school system. But
also it's a case that when they're in early education, young girls are much more disposed to sit there quietly and raise their hand and all that sort of stuff. Like young boys, we want to wrestle and we want to play and we want to roughhouse. And like me, for example, I hated school. I went to 4 different high schools.
Oh, no way.
And I was just getting Fs the whole time. I thought I was retarded until I was like 25.
Yeah.
It's tough, man.
Well, and I've even heard things that the questions answered, like the questions given on tests are much more like answers that are catered. I can't explain it super in depth, but I know that in the 70s and 80s, the school system changed to be more preferential to women. Then on top of that, it's like 90% female teachers who ruined education. That's next. And then, we go and get jobs that are basically worthless. Like I had a friend I graduated college with. I mean, she was paid like $60,000, $70,000 a year right out of school to do human resources.
Yeah, it's a useless job.
It's a completely useless job. So we get all these, and it gives women an overinflated sense of ego. And I realized this during sports, right? The WNBA operates at a loss. And basically what's happening is we're robbing the men with their money and we're getting paid more. So they all have these big egos. They think they're entitled to more, to more, to more. And I realized that that's probably happening in corporate America where the men are doing all of the work and the women are getting paid. And I've even asked guys, like, have you ever had a job where you helped out a woman that like couldn't do her job? And overwhelmingly, when I ask guys, the answer is yes.
If you enjoyed that reality-based podcast clip, make sure to subscribe to the reality-based YouTube channel. We'll be uploading many clips and the full podcast. And also, if you prefer the audible version, you can check us out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts at Reality Based.